What's going on, gentlemen? So we got some folks in the background, but good or happy Thursday. Good to see you guys all hopping on here tonight to hang out with us for a little bit. We got our Tenoroc and Saddle Creek recap that's going to happen, and then we're going to talk some exciting stuff for the rest of the season. Talk AOI and have a little conversation about what's going on in Northwest Florida with the Kayak Adventure Series to kind of close out tonight's live. But again, super excited. We got a full house tonight. We got the top three in Big Bass finishers for the Tenoroc event. So we're going to bring them to the stage here in a second. Todd, I think there's some back feed for you, or there's some interference. I muted you just for a second there. Let me see if you got it. Yeah, there's some interference there for you, Todd. So I'm gonna mute you. But we got a full house here tonight. We're gonna bring Jeff, Evan, and Devin Holbrook on here in just a second to try and let them talk about their event, what led into their success, how pre-fishing went. I know Devin has some Facebook or YouTube videos that he had published and posts that I watched, which was pretty exciting. So we'll let him talk about his pre-fishing and what ultimately led to his success there at the Rock. But yeah. What we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and bring Jeff on to the stage, bring Evan up here as well. And then we got Devin. I see everyone kind of hopped on there as we were opening up. So what's going on, guys? Can you guys hear me? Do a mic check?
Yep.
Awesome, man. How are you guys doing?
Good,
man. That's fantastic. I'm glad we were able to get you guys on here tonight. So kind of just a little bit about what we're going to do. We'll start with third. We'll go third, second, first, and Big Bass, and then we'll just talk about through the rest of the season with you guys if you guys are okay with that.
Yeah.
Cool. Evan, I think Evan popped off. All right, so Devin, we'll start with you. We'll go back to Evan, man. Tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got involved with the club, and kind of how your season's going, culminating into.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me mute him. And how everything culminated into you, finishing in second there at the Tenoroc event. So, yeah, we'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, so I joined the club was probably 2 years ago. This is my third year on the club. And I've just really wanted to do some kayak tournaments. I've been fishing out of a kayak for years and never really found any derbies. So I found y'all on Facebook, obviously, and started doing that. I've been loving it. So to the Rock, I pre-fished Tenoroc a good bit, and it did not go good. I fished, I think, 5 or 6 of the lakes. I caught one fish throughout the whole pre-fishing. It was a 5-pounder, and that's it. Can you guys hear me? I don't know.
Yeah, we got you.
Okay,
yeah.
All right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I fished 5 or 6 lakes. I caught one fish in all those lakes, a 5-pounder on hydrilla, and I knew everybody would be out there, so I just kept hitting different lakes. I hit fish hook, didn't catch nothing there. And then at about 10:30 on Friday before the tournament, I went out to B. And my first flip in the reeds, I caught like a 16, went down the line a little bit, caught like a 19. And so I was like, all right, well, that's the more action I've had all week. So I'm just going to come out here. And actually the stretch that I caught the fish on, I didn't catch anything during the tournament, but there was a little back pocket that looked really good, and so I went back in there. I'll back up a little bit. Before that, I hit a different stretch on the other side of the little cove, and that's when I caught my 20 or 27.5. And then I went around the corner of that cove and I caught an 18 and a half, a 16, and an 18 again off this maybe 10-foot stretch of stumps. And I caught a couple more fish in that little cove, and I left and went to try to find other fish. And I came back, and I caught another 18 out of the same stump patch. And I ended up doing that 2 or 3 times and catching 4 18s out of the same maybe 10-foot stretch, all on a white spinnerbait. And that's pretty much how my day went. I flipped the reeds a little bit. I caught one flip in the reeds, and then I kept the spinnerbait in my hand the whole time. And I probably caught 15 fish. I mean, it was a good day. I mean, considering the pre-fishing, I really didn't even want to fish the event. I hated Tenoroc until tournament day, so it worked out.
Yeah, Tenoroc has a love-hate relationship with a lot of folks. It's one of those fisheries where you can do something completely different on every single body of water there. Like it offers just so much. It's so versatile to where
Yeah,
if you want to
absolutely.
throw a spinner bait, you want to punch, you want to throw a frog, you want to crank, deep crank, timber, reeds. I mean, it has everything, man. But when you catch them and you get on them, it's explosive for sure. So
Yeah, it was fun. I mean, they were all in that one area, so it worked out pretty good.
yeah, and that was your first or second time fishing Lake B. So yeah, Lake B is known. It's one of the bigger lakes out there beside
Yeah.
Five and what's the other big one that's out there? Um, B5, and then what's the one in the back? I forgot the name of it.
Three's pretty big.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, and that allows you to get. Were you worried about being able to get on that lake at all, or were you pretty up there? Are you pretty up at pretty close up to the front of the line?
No, I was actually well, with it being B, I knew it was a big lake. That wasn't really my concern, so I was gonna camp out at the gate if I were gonna go to any of the small lakes.
Yeah,
But since I found the fish on B, which I kind of was hoping I would, it worked out because I didn't really want to sleep in the truck. So
yeah,
I mean, I was probably 15th in line. I wasn't there crazy early at all, but I
yeah,
mean, the launch that I launched at, it was just me and Jason Leach there, so it
yeah.
worked out pretty good.
Well, that's good, man. I mean, that's a solid day, second place, right? Your total inches was, man, I'm terrible. I forgot what your total inches was.
93 and a half.
93 and a half, right? So that's a heck of a day out there for sure. And the fish looked healthy. I got some photos of some of the fish that were caught out there. There were a few that looked like they were struggling, but for the most part, they were chunky fish out there and healthy out there on Lake B, which is a good thing. So
Yeah.
that's what I love seeing. So that's awesome. And I see you're in your car. Aren't you on your way up to Tallahassee right now?
No, I got to work tomorrow. I'll be getting there probably about 11:30 tomorrow night. So
Okay, yeah, I saw you're signed up for the Tallahassee event for the Kayak Adventure Series up there. So I saw. Are you teamed up or are you just doing the individual?
yeah, me and Granger are fishing together.
Really? So you and Granger are together up there.
Yep, yep. That's
Awesome,
the
man.
plan.
So is he up there now pre-fishing?
Yeah, he got up there today. I don't know if he got to do any pre-fishing. I don't think so. He's gonna go look at some launches tomorrow, and then I guess let me know how it goes tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, because the way that works, y'all have up and tomorrow is your final day to pre-fish, and then Friday, no one's allowed on the water until the evening, correct?
Yep, yep, yep.
Man, that's going to be exciting. I'm curious to see how that all turns out with the lakes and rivers that they have in play up there. So we're definitely going to be keep an eye on that. We'll post it on our club too for those of you that are curious about how that's going. But if you're still interested and you don't have anything planned for this weekend, I'll do a little shameless plug here. The Kayak Adventure Series teamed up with the North Florida Bass Nation Club for Tallahassee. It's on It's on Tourney X. You can search it there. It's actually linked on the top banner. You can click it. They have a single member registration and then or an individual and a team registration, 150 each, right? So $300 if you want to do both.
Yep.
And yeah, it's a pretty awesome. Last year, the club we had it at Ocalapalooza, and Daryl Harrelson took home first place individual. And then we had Seth Taylor and Blake Abbey took home first place in the team. So, and I think they're giving away kayaks too. There's a huge thing. It's a whole thing. If you haven't done it, definitely get signed up and go up there and compete in it.
And Bailey, didn't you take home second place?
Yeah, I did, and then I think I'm trying to think of who took home third place. I mean, the FKBT app swept it, which, I mean, to be expected, I guess, since we fish those lakes pretty regularly. So I'm hoping, Devin, you and Granger go up there and absolutely crush it. I know Blake's up there fishing. Alan Reed is going to be up there competing in it. And a lot of the Bass Nation folks that have come down and fished our event, like Matt Boat, Dwayne Dwyer, and all those guys are going to be fishing it. So last I looked, there was only like less than 10 Florida anglers signed up to fish it, which had me surprised. So definitely want you guys to get up there and compete. That'd be a lot of fun. So, but Devin, man, that's awesome. Congrats on a second place finish. I took a look at the Angler of the Year points, and you're sitting in 12th right now. So, sitting in 12th, I'll go ahead and pull that up and kind of see where you're at total wise. So you are sitting at, of course, it would like 350 points, I believe. where you're sitting at out of the 602 that Blake's at. So with 2 events left, you really got 4 because you got 2 events for the regular season. If you plan on fishing those to move your way up, and then the championship's worth double.
Oh.
Right. So double points. So when I say double points is you'll get 20 additional points if you catch a limit during the championship. So if you catch 70 inches, you end up getting 90 points for that event, 70 plus the 20 for catching a limit. So still not out of it. We're going to be doing something pretty cool for the top 5 in AOY points. I hadn't even told Todd or Sean or any of those guys yet. So we're gonna do something to the top 5. Obviously, the angler of the year, the person who's taken home, is going to get a trophy similar to this. But we're going to do something else for the top 5 to kind of recognize those anglers that spent and dedicated their time on the water throughout the year. So, definitely want to see you out there continuing your success, man. So
yeah, that's the plan.
You've been a hammer since you joined the club. So
I appreciate that.
it's no surprise to see your name up there in the leaderboard. So again, man, we'll come back to you. Got some questions with you on the back end. So stick around if you got time. And we'll throw those out there at the end. But we're gonna move over to Evan. He finished 3rd. You popped off before. We were gonna start with you, but you popped off. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. I couldn't hear you guys, so I had to drop out and come back. So
gotcha. How you been?
Doing well. Just getting home from work. Long day. It's a grind.
Well, I appreciate you hopping on and taking time. We'll try to make it short and sweet, but we want to give you guys the time to kind of shine here. So appreciate you hopping on. Your season's pretty strong, man.
Well, I think it's just been about catching limits. That's been the main thing, just grinding through. But sitting in 4th in Angler of the Year.
I believe you were sitting in 4th, right below Jason Leach. Let me get rid of this thing because it seems like everything I have on the screen's blocking. Yeah, so you're sitting in 4th with 537 points. So, like you said, pretty consistent. I think you, Jeff, Blake are the only 3 anglers in the club at this point. Well, only 3 anglers left that have caught a limit in every single event so far this season, right? So that's
a feat. But I tell you what, that lead Blake has, he's a hell of a fisherman. So that's gonna be a big hill to climb to try to catch him. But gonna keep grinding away.
Yeah, he's absolutely crushing it when it comes to the 1, catching a limit, but 2, the average 5 fish average that he has just been absolutely insane, right? And for someone who's doing it with no electronics and no anchoring, I mean, he has his drive with like the pedal drive kayak, but
he's got that. Yeah, I think his pedal drive has like the battery backup, so that does kind of help him a little bit to kind of cover ground a little bit better. So that,
but I'm telling you,
any kind of little bit of a power assist is game changer.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the rest of the season, though, right? We have Headwater Stick Marsh, which is anybody's game, right? I mean, that event alone should, at this time of the year, fish are probably rolling up, and you might see some fish that are bedding or moving in and off in that transition period, right? So there's going to be some big bags caught and a potential for. There's a potential for. There's something going on in the background. Do y'all hear that?
It might be me. My dogs are in here in the office, and I have a laminate floor, so all you hear is like the clicking of their paws. Go lay down. Come on.
No, you're fine. But yeah, no. I was talking with Blake this weekend, and you guys still aren't out of it. I mean, it takes you get 90 inches, you get 100 points, right? It'll move you up the leaderboard. You just kind of got to hope. You don't really want to hope it against anyone, but you got to hope that someone doesn't have a phenomenal day, or it kind of makes the points mute. You know what I mean? They kind of level out. So, not Blake. Blake has a lot. I spoke with him. He feels the pressure from you guys, right? So as long as everyone stays consistent, it's going to be hard to beat them, especially with Headwater Stick Marsh, and then we have the South County Challenge, which we've really only fished one lake in the South County Challenge, and I believe that's the what's that name? That's where you did really good, Todd. What's the name of that lake where you won?
I don't think it's Tapoga, but I don't think that's on the list for the South County Challenge.
Oh, it's not.
No.
Yeah. If it's, I don't think we've ever fished any of these lakes that are on the South County Challenge. So I'm excited to see how it turns out. But let's talk a little bit about the rock. How did you do any pre-fishing going into it, or?
I did. I went to the normal haunts. Fish hook. You and I have history going back a couple summers of fishing out there, and that lake is garbage anymore.
Really?
I wouldn't even waste my time. We've had that discussion that we think they shocked them out of there, and
oh yeah,
Frizzy actually found a post where WMA may have shocked him out of there and put him out there at the new Mosaic place.
I think we got a little bit of what is causing that? Hold on. Do y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, there was a little bit of an echo there. We got you now. Yeah, I think that they do a lot of moving around in there. I don't know. I'm not a biologist. I haven't fished there in almost since our last Tenoroc event there. We stopped going. But yeah, I've definitely heard and seen posts where I think they did move some fish to the new Mosaic pits, but I was surprised. There was a lot of quality fish caught.
Yeah. I mean, I pre-fished 5 a couple times. The only time I really found a bite on 5 was actually like late, like in that 4 to 7 p.m. window.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously that wasn't going to work for tournament day.
Yeah.
We fished. We fished A. What else? I mean, we went through a lot of different ones. We ended up was on Half Moon.
Okay.
Half Moon was always my afternoon bite. Back in the summers, we'd fish hook in the morning, then head over to Half Moon and crank those flats in the afternoon, and usually pop a bunch of 1920s. And those fish were not on those flats out in the middle. And caught a quick limit in the morning, probably by 8:30, and then just was grinding, and then I actually caught my 220s back to back on a drop shot fluke, just flipping underneath this one tree that leans over into the lake.
Really?
So yeah. Then later in the day, kind of, it was all smalls up shallow. Then the tilapia were really pushing up hard into the shallows later in the day as the water warmed, and found the fish, just on the outside edge of that hydrilla in like 5 to 7 feet of water.
Really? Wow. Yeah, I never really ever fished Half Moon. It was way far back in there. It was too small. I like to fish, B. Butterfly was a big one that I'd flat wore them out for a good year and a half out there on butterflies. So yeah, Half Moon. Wow, that's on, I forgot the name of the track, but that's on the same road as Butterfly, right? And all those.
Yeah, Butterfly, Legs, Cornet, going back to Turn. That was the interesting thing. I did go check out Cornet one day as well, and that place is garbage. All the alligators from Parker, I think, are all in Cornet. But one thing cool I did get to see was coming down the road there going to Cornet. It looks like Turn is actually completely full of water now. So
really, I know they were redoing it a couple years back, and they reseeded it and did some things out there for management. But I heard that was turning into a like their hatchery almost. So
okay, that might make sense why they took the sign down. You got a cable across the road. You're not.
Yeah,
I don't think they're advertising it's ever going to open again.
Yeah, no, I think it's the biologist their management hatchery area where they're going to transition fish in and out of that area to different lakes and whatnot. So, I mean, I love Tenoroc for what they're doing out there. I don't agree with some of the management choices that they've made out of there. They've really not damaged, but they removed a lot of the key ingredients to house those big fish or make them to where they're, you can actually trick them into biting. So,
yeah, I think that's what happened with fish hook. Like fish hook had the duckweed, and the spatter or the sporadic hydrilla. Yeah, and they went in there and sprayed everything because people were complaining about the duckweed because when it would blow, could only fish half the lake. Yeah. But then the hydrilla just came back super thick. I mean, even trying to punch that hydrilla, it was near impossible.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no, and I got a question for Devin. You were on Lake B. How was the water? Was the water low? Or were the sticks that are on the edge there? Were they able to be fished, or was the water pretty low on Lake B?
It was pretty low, but you could still fish the sticks. I mean, that's all my fish came out of the stumps. They
Really?
were probably, I mean, they were probably sitting from 2 foot to 4 foot maybe.
Yeah,
They came out a good ways. But I'd
really.
cast right at the bank, and a couple times as soon as the spinnerbait hit the water, I'd have a fish on.
Really? Yeah. I was
nice.
curious because as I kind of stopped fishing Tenoroc, Lake B was predominantly where I went because I loved throwing a crankbait. Like that was my thing. Throwing a jabberjaw and those sticks like 2 years ago, I'm telling you, you couldn't go to a point on that lake and not catch a 23, 24. 20, like 20 plus, like you could almost call your shots. Now it's almost virtually impossible. It gets pressured a lot out there too with a lot of the boaters that kind of go out there and constantly run it. But yeah, there's some humps out there too, man, that if you hit them with a jerkbait or a crankbait, a deep diving crankbait, and just dredge the bottom, it normally does pretty good. And if you're not losing 30 crankbaits, you're not doing it right as well. My method was so.
Oh,
but that's good.
One thing I did notice, I didn't realize at the awards that actually Devin and I tied, and then looking later, got me by a quarter inch. Well done, well done, Devin. Well done.
Yeah, so I was actually I didn't want to put salt to the wound, but I did want to say you tied, and then Devin etched you out with the kicker there. So
yeah,
that tail pinch has been helping me out.
Yeah. Yeah. Half Moon, is that a deep lake, or I know it's fairly small,
deep,
right?
It's 25 feet, I would say. You know, you come
Wow.
off the ramp, it's like you got a small flat off the ramp. It dumps down, comes back up, dumps down, comes back up.
Does it have a hydrilla wall around it or no?
Yes.
It does. Okay, I think I have fished that lake then. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Which is nice.
I recall that.
Yeah, it's stayed pretty consistent, so they haven't gone in there and sprayed it from what I can tell. And then that hydrilla really hasn't had it doesn't really push out further than, 6 feet deep.
And I want to see this, that was for you, that was your best limit so far out of the entire year. So 93.5, the rest of yours are 80s and mid to high 70s. So yeah,
this is my first time this year catching a fish over 20 in a tournament.
Yeah,
it's been, like I said, it's been a grind of just small fish.
Well, I mean, looking at it, you're consistent. You're going out there. What's been your game plan going into these events? Have you been able to pre-fish, or what's that?
Yeah, I mean, like? We get out. Jeff and I do a lot of pre-fishing together. So and then I'm off work every other Friday. He's off Fridays. So usually that's our kind of game plan, is go out on Fridays and pre-fish some Saturdays and whatnot. So I'm always trying to get out. We get out probably at least 1 or 2 times for every event to try to pre-fish and find fish. And I'm always finding fish and pre-fish, and I'm finding some good fish. But just on tournament day, it's they're not there. And I think also I get into my head a little bit and start pushing, and you fish a little faster than what you should. You need to slow down. It's just being inconsistent on tournament day. That's been I think the knock on myself this year.
Right, but I mean, last year, I believe it was last year, you guys finished the season pretty strong as well, right? With some good finishes, finishing up last year, and you kind of held some momentum. I think it started with Lake Okeechobee. Jeff and you were kind of up there, if I'm not mistaken, in the top 3, right? Was that last? Yeah.
Or the year before.
The year before, and then last year I'm getting those mixed up. But yeah, regardless, though, right? You still were pretty consistent last year, and you're moving into this year to up in the leaderboards, or up in at least AOI standing. So which is good.
I can catch fish. It's cashing checks is the problem.
Well, you cashed a check on this one, right? Yeah. So I mean, you can't. You got to start somewhere. So you at least got something that you're hanging up on the wall now, and super happy, super grateful that you're able to go out there and have fun. Tenoroc, I wouldn't say you wouldn't consider it your home lake, but it's fairly close, right?
Oh yeah, especially because when I first moved down to Florida, like 4 years, just right around 4 years ago, I was actually living there in Champions Gate where I work, and so Tenoroc was the closest place. And I came from Ohio fishing strip mines where they reclaimed coal mines, and so a strip pit is a strip pit. At the end of the day, they all kind of fish the same.
Yeah, they all do. It's Florida. I was very surprised, and I'm sure from you guys fishing it too, and hearing the past or the history of it. I mean, I'm there were, yes, quality fish caught, but there were not as many 22, 23 pluses caught out of there that I anticipated. I would go out there, in 2021, 2022, and I would catch 5, 6, 23s in a
Yeah, I
day.
think it was that way all the way up until like 2024. Like the end of
Yeah.
2024, it seemed like it just died after that.
For those of you that are watching, don't give up on it. Tenoroc is a phenomenal place for if you got folks that are interested in wanting to kayak fish and not be around like boaters that are, I mean, I'm not saying there's boaters out there in some of the lakes, but there's most of the lakes they're all electric only. You can idle in Lake B. However, people don't generally follow that rule. I'm sure Devin, you probably saw the guy driving around, on plane there on Saturday in the aluminum boat that was out there. But for the most part, it's a phenomenal place to go if you're new to fishing, new to kayak fishing. You go out there and you can catch fish, right? You can stumble upon some big ones, but it's definitely worth it. You got a firing range out there. You got walking, hiking trails. You got clay shooting. I mean, it's a fun place to go, right smack dab there in Lakeland, Florida. So if you're watching this, or maybe you've never fished it before and you're interested, definitely give them a shot. Give them a shot to go out there and go catch some fish. But no, super pumped for you, Evan. Excited to kind of see how you guys all go. Like, what's the game plan for the rest of the year for you? You got Headwaters and South County Challenge. How much? How you been out to Headwaters recently?
I haven't been out to Headwaters in I think a year. Because I didn't fish the Headwaters tournament last year. I had a schedule conflict.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's going to be fun. I'm excited about it. Hopefully, maybe someone's going to break Dwayne Dwyer's 25-inch monster. But who knows? I've seen there's a lot of drama going on out at Headwaters right now on their Facebook guides.
That's been some good reading.
So, but yeah, definitely been paying attention to that. There's been some big fish caught, but I think a lot of it's been caught on shiners, so that's misleading for some. But no, super happy for you, Evan. Definitely proud of you and what you've done so far this year. Hopefully, one of you guys can run down Blake and give him a run for his money moving into the final stretch of the season. So definitely stick around though, Evan. We'll got some questions at the end, but okay. We're going to move over to Jeff. He is your champion for the Tenoroc Saddle Creek event, and also took home your big bass. So he has first place in big bass right there. So yeah, Jeff, introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about the event and what ultimately led to you to the success you had there.
Yep. So Jeff Gallagher, been fishing with you guys. I think this is my 4th year fishing with you guys now. Started the year after KAF. And just slowly got more involved with the club as kind of time went on. So I'll be honest, nobody's probably more surprised about winning that event than I am. I don't do well at Tenoroc. Evan knows it. I call that place my kryptonite, mainly because kind of like you said, right? It doesn't fish like other places in Florida, and it is very, very much like the strip mines up north. And I was a panfish guy up north, walleye, saugeye, perch. So small jigs, under a bobber and fishing in no deeper than 10 foot of water typically. So to come down and try to fish Tenoroc for me is always a challenge. My pre-fishing really did not go well. I didn't feel good one of the days that we were out there. So we went out, we planned on fishing all day. I think I spent half the time in the parking lot. It did not go well for me. And so I ended up coming off the lakes those days, that day at like 11:30 and heading home. The nice thing is that was the day that Evan and I headed over to Half Moon. So I knew that Half Moon at least fit my fishing style with hydrilla along the edges and basically moving out away from the bank into about 10, 11, 12 foot of water. And as you got out in that 10, 11 foot of water, it was coming up to about 5, 6, 7, 8. So you had about 4 feet right there in the section where you could throw off the hard edge and you were not only on a hard edge, but you were above grass coming back to the kayak. So I went out, I talked to you, I talked to a couple other people, and kind of decided I wasn't going to fish my fishing style, right? I was going to try to fish more like Tenoroc fishes, you know, square bills, crankbaits. And the very first cast, I think Evan was behind me, and I cast and dropped an F-bomb because I literally casted my square bill off my rod. And it was too dark to tie anything else on. So I just kind of did a loop knot and put that rod up. And so I started throwing a stealth blade, and I stuck with the stealth blade the rest of the day. I don't think I've ever caught more fish in a tournament. I found out that stealth blade will hold up to about 30 fish before it gets trashed. And then about halfway through the day, I tied on a mini max and fished the rest of the day with the mini max. And kind of to a very similar game plan to Evan for all my tournaments is get out there and try to get a limit in the first 2 hours. And then that way I can focus the rest of the day on trying to catch bigger fish. Because I do absolutely fish different when I'm trying to catch bigger fish. For me, it's a lot more power fishing. It's a lot further cast away from the boat and then slow rolling it back. And so it just worked out. I think at around noon, I got into about a 45-minute stretch where I think my smallest fish, I caught 4 fish, and I think the smallest fish was a 19. And one of them didn't even end up on the leaderboard because I don't know how to read my screen apparently, and it aired out, and I thought it went into the net, and it is what it is.
I wasn't going to bring that up, but you reached out to me and you're like, hey, I messed up. I should have had over 100 inches. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, I forgot to upload. I forgot what it was, like over a 20 or something. So
yeah, so I had a 21.75 so I uploaded it to Tourney X, and then I uploaded it to Fishing Chaos right after, and it went to Fishing Chaos. And so when I was kind of at the end of the day, when I was comparing the two, I was like, how did I catch 103 in Fishing Chaos and not have the same number in Tourney X? And so I started going through it, and I'm like, I'm an idiot. So it is what it is. But all I have to say is, you know, when you don't care even that you didn't get a 21.75 in the net, that's when you know it was a good day, right?
Right. I mean, it wouldn't have changed the outcome. The only thing that you lost out on would have been the 100-inch club, right? The infamous
and the AOI points.
The sticker. It was all about the sticker.
Yeah. But it is AOI points. That would have moved. You would have moved up 18 points, I believe. It's somewhere around there, right? Another 18-ish points. So yeah, it definitely could have.
It would have just been the. Do you get extra points for 100?
No, whatever you 100. So you would have got a.
Yeah, it would have been like 4.75 or 4.5 inches. But again, you know, that's kind of my whole point, right? Is that I'm still new, even though I've been fishing with the club for 4 years. That's pretty much all my bass experience. Yeah, I didn't fish for bass in Ohio, so it's all been basically in that 4 years, and and then tournament fishing has pretty much been the same timeline. And you know, even when you fish a tournament a month for 4 years straight, it's just more evidence that you can make a mistake. Yeah, and generally those are the kind of mistakes that will cost you. Right, they'll cost you a check, they'll cost you a tournament, and that's why I put kind of fun fishing. Right, is I'm still trying to, you know, make sure I don't make the dumb mistakes sometimes, because I think we're all guilty. You know, especially when you get excited and you got big fish in the boat and you got them on the board, and you know, I've had big fish flop off before. I'm not a guy that does the net like in front of it. I probably should. But I try to get everything set up so by the time I set them down, I'm pretty much ready to snap the photo. And I don't like to keep them out of the water that long. I try to get them right back into the water. I don't typically take weights or anything because I just want to get them back into the water. But when you're in a rush to get them back in the water, that is also when you realize you let them go and realize you made a mistake, had a cracked lip, something like that too. And it bites you sometimes trying to take care of fish and trying to, do things quickly. So,
yeah,
I'm still trying to, get that kind of stuff out of my game at times.
Yeah, it can be a lot, especially whenever you're out there fishing and you're trying to, obviously make sure you're submitting I mean, first and foremost, I don't think I had any issues with any photos submitted. There were a few that were blurry. But I was able to see the mouth and the tail, not from you, but I'm seeing in general from anglers. So, I mean, I appreciate that anglers taking the time, but definitely I can't stress enough, do your due diligence as an angler on the water and double, triple, quadruple check what you submitted, right? Make sure it's not a duplicate photo, right? That you submitted the same fish twice, or, just verify that it even uploaded, right?
Yep.
Take that extra second, go look at your submissions, go look what's in the net, and make sure that it reflects accurately so that you don't experience those. I mean, just paying attention to the rules. I mean, it's those little bitty things that can cause you to, throw your day off, that have a long-standing impact for that day and future tournaments to come. So I'm glad it didn't impact the results in any way, right? Because that could definitely be a bummer. But I do want to throw up here your big fish, right? So your big fish of the day was 22 inches. Beautiful fish, man. Look at that thing. Healthy.
Very healthy. So I will say that is the one thing about Tenoroc that you cannot ignore.
Man.
All those fish out there are healthy. They've got healthy bellies. Even when it's not spawning time, they're thick fish. I mean, Tenoroc does a really good job of managing their fishery. And so, to your point, it might not fish as well as it used to. I think that's probably more a symptom of pressure than anything else. But they do a great job of keeping those fish healthy out there.
Yeah, they do. And like I said, I hopefully none of you guys ran into any issues out there with anyone or with the head shed or whatever. So hopefully all that went smoothly, because I know that can throw a wrench in some of the plans as far as going out there. Hopefully everyone was able to fish the lake that they intended to fish. And no one reached out to me and said that the front gate gave them any issues. So super thankful for you guys. One thing I will say, we went from biggest to smallest. Right here we had a 8-incher caught. That's a healthy 8-incher. So for those of you that don't know, I'm going to transition over now to the little Debbie. Frizzy Zamora, he is the Tenoroc king. He goes out there and fishes all the time, but he won Little Debbie. He's known to catch 600-700 fish out there on a weekend. We know that because we see his Facebook posts, right? So I should have invited him out here. If you guys don't know, go back and look at Frizzy's Facebook post. He catches the crap out of fish on Tenoroc. And I knew I would have put $100 on that he was going to catch the smallest fish for sure, and I would have won. But that is a healthy 8-incher too. So congrats, Frizzy, for taking home Little Debbie. Again, this year, I was not surprised, to say the least. So, but yeah, Jeff, congratulations to you, man. You took home a decent check there. I think we had $562. So what I'll do is I'll kind of go up here. Yep. So we had Jeff Gallagher, first place was $562 with a $125 big bass check there as well. Second place, Devin Holbrook, you went home with $337, and then Evan, you took home $225. All those payouts were based off the 25 anglers, and we paid out just under $1,400 for that event, which thank you guys for the participation. And then also too, for the lunker pot, after all the events, we're sitting at just over $1,000. So with 2 events in the championship, we should probably be around the $1,700 mark, hopefully, with that. So right now, current leader for that is Dwayne Dwyer from our Orange event, which is our first event of the season, where he caught 2, I think, over 10-pounders. So I wanted to.
So real quick, Chris. Speaking of 10-pounders, so that big bass Jeff caught, I was on the other side of the lake. He catches it, and he's screaming across the lake, "It's a 10-pounder! It's a 10-pounder!"
When it was coming up, I thought it was.
Just here, it's a giant. But
it's not a 10-pounder. But you always think they are when you got them on the line.
Yeah, well, especially there, they fight, they dig, and if they get in that grass, it's fun. It's a fun fight there. But I
Even
want
the small fish this weekend were fighting. I had one that I swear was like 12 and a quarter, and I think it fought the hardest out of all of them. Got into some grass. I was trying to pull it out. It didn't want to come out.
Yeah, no, that's fun, man. So I know you and Evan and there's a few other of you guys that fish together, right? And kind of create that close knit friend group, which is really cool. So I'm glad that I think first and second place you were on Half Moon as well.
Yeah.
Was there anyone else? I'm not sure how many people are allowed out there, but was it just you two on that lake?
For most of the day, it was just the two of us. In the morning, we had a little bit of company, but then they moved off at around 11.
So first and second came off a Half Moon, and then we had Devin Holbrook out there on Lake B, absolutely crushing it. I'm surprised there weren't, and I'm curious to see too. I don't know. I don't have the leaderboard up in front of me, but I think we had like the top 8 or 9 that were over 90 inches, which is probably one of the best that we've had so far this season from a 90 plus inch limit. I posted the stats on our Facebook page, but there were over, I think 18 to 20 fish over 20 inches caught. If I'm not mistaken, I might have done my math wrong. It might have been there might have been 18 to 20, like 17 to 19 inches caught, which is good. Healthy fish there. So I do want to bring up, I left all of you guys on here for a reason. I just had one question, and it kind of goes for all of you guys is what got you into kayak fishing and what's kept you in the kayak? So Devin, I'll start with you, and we'll go up to Jeff.
Well, I've been fishing tournaments. I have a bass boat at the house, so usually not a lot of people start off with the bass boat and go to the kayak.
Yeah.
Me and my dad fished bass boat tournaments since I was in middle school. And I've always had just an old Pelican and a little 10-footer. And when COVID came around, when I was, probably, I don't know, that was 4 years ago, but I was sneaking into these private lakes with my buddies, just sliding the kayak over and catching giants. So that was my favorite thing, was doing a little bit of trespassing and catching some big fish.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I loved doing that. And then I ended up finding the marketplace deal with a little trolling motor on the back of the Ascend that I used to fish off of. And that's when I started doing the tournaments. And when I started fishing the tournaments and seeing how some of these guys had their yaks rigged out, I was like, oh, this is awesome.
Yeah.
So I got me a nice yak. I got me a good motor. And from there, it's just been loading it up with gear and going a little overkill, but it's been a blast.
It's a drug, right? Actually,
yeah.
The first year you fished, you made it. Is that the year that you won the championship?
Yeah.
Right. So so for those of you that don't know, are you cool with me sharing it?
Yeah. Go ahead.
So for those of you that don't know, Devin found out the club about our club. He fished it and he did phenomenal. He qualified for the championship and he was fishing out the Ascend, the tank of a kayak. It was huge. Yeah. Right. And he was out there fishing out of that. We had our championship on, was it Toho or the Kissimmee chain, right?
Kissimmee chain, yeah.
Kissimmee chain. He made it. And I believe I might've been in the lead day one of that championship.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then Seth Taylor and you, right. And then a few others. I didn't do anything day two. My spot was done. I couldn't catch any upgrades. And then, Devin caught some. How big was that fish you caught?
I caught a 24 1/4.
Yeah.
It was like 9.3, I think.
Yeah, he caught this massive fish after the leaderboard had turned off and jumped into first place. And I think you're out there fishing the same time there was a MLF or heavy hitters or something like that. That was out there.
It was the heavy hitters.
Yeah, and he was out there just crushing alongside some of the pros, and it was actually on. He got broadcasted on their TV, right? On their, but there was a rules infraction where he won. We had the championship, the check, and all that stuff, right? And then at the end, he did a recap, and he wasn't wearing his life jacket, right? So that was probably single-handedly the worst day of my life as a tournament director, and I want you to know that. I think we've talked about it enough.
So I gotta cut in on this too, and hopefully Devin doesn't mind me saying this too. So he didn't fish for 3 hours that day because he was at the lake I was at, and he had a motor problem, and so he left and had to go get his motor fixed and come back.
Yeah.
So he only
So
fished
what happened, actually, believe it or not, so I go from the ramp to my spot, which is about 30 minutes away, and I had realized I forgot my life jacket. So I go back, I grabbed it, and then I go back, and that's when I had the motor problem. So I didn't get back. My dad actually met me at the ramp and helped me splice wires and all that jazz, and got me back on the water by like 9:30, and about 12 o'clock when I took it off. I was getting hot, and that was probably one of the biggest mistakes I could have made right there.
Yeah, that it was one. I mean, that was probably the word when it got brought to my attention or reported to me. I was like, having the conversation with you, I was just like, that was probably single-handedly one of the worst calls I had to make. But having the conversation with you and the way that you took it and how that whole transpired to where Seth Taylor actually was crowned the champion there, because it actually moved me down to third between you and Seth. Y'all crushed it day two. It was an amazing experience. An experience for me. I know it sucked for you, right, because of the whole situation, but the way that you took that and how you've responded year after year has just been, amazing, right? And that was a mistake that was made that I'm sure you've never made again, right? Because
no, it was a hard way to learn it, but I'm glad it happened. If I didn't make that mistake, or if I didn't get caught for that, I probably would still be doing the same thing. So I'm glad, especially after the kid that passed away up in Toledo Bend when I was up there. Like,
right.
I'm glad that I've learned my lesson, even though it's the hard way. I'll take it.
No, regardless, man, you've been killing it, and we appreciate anglers who take the mistakes that they make and progress versus just getting out of the sport, right? So you came in. And that's why I asked that question, is what made you get into kayak, but what's kept you in a kayak is that second part there, right? So I'll let you finish that second part there, but I just kind of wanted to fill it in on that because you're still doing it after all of that, the things that you've went through. It'd have been easy for you to be like, screw it, I'm not going to do this no more.
Yeah, I mean, what it really comes down to is I'm super competitive with everything I do. And especially when it comes to fishing, I love there's something different when you're fishing a tournament than when you're fun fishing. You get the butterflies, you get all jittery, you lose a big fish, you get more angry. It's just, there's something about the competitive aspect. So what really kept me in it was just fishing tournaments and wanting to win. I've yet to get a victory since that. I feel like I got cursed from that tournament, but I know it's going to come here soon. And man, I'm hoping to get that redemption, since we're going to be back on Toho for the championship that's my home lake, so I'm gonna be shooting for it.
Well, I would be surprised if your name ain't up at the top, anyways, right? So Toho, that whole area there is a great fishery, so I'm super excited about that. But I'm glad that you stayed in the kayak, you stayed coming out fishing our events. Super excited for you. I know you're in the bass stuff too, so hopefully everything's going well over there in AOY. Where are you sitting at over there? Is that are you?
I'm not really doing too hot for AOY, but I'm in the running for Rookie of the Year, so I'll take that.
Okay, that's where I thought I saw your name on one of the lists. I just wasn't sure if it's AOY or Rookie of the Year. So, well, congrats and good luck with the rest of our season, but also over there on the bass side as well. And being able to hopefully between one of the two trails, you're going to get out there and be able to cash a check this year, hopefully.
Yeah, that's the plan.
But awesome, man. Well, I appreciate you hopping on, Devin. You're more than welcome to stay on. Evan, I'm going to roll the same question over to you, man. Hopefully you had a little bit of time to think about it.
It's the same story I always tell. So up in Ohio, I used to fish out of a float tube. So that's essentially a giant truck tube with a canvas liner over top of it and a Swiss seat. Legs hang down through, and you wear dive fins. So you're always kicking.
Yep.
And you always stay hands-free. And so, we fished a lot of reclaimed coal mine stuff and then limestone quarries, and a lot of that stuff was like hard access to, and the float tube made it great because like I didn't need a ramp. I just walk up to it. If there was an opening, I'm getting in the water. So that led me to believe that I was actually a pretty good fisherman because I was fishing a lot of secluded areas. Then get down here to Florida, realize the float tube is not going to be an option, so get into the kayak and start having to fish public waters.
You can fish out of a float tube. What are you talking about?
There is absolutely no way I would do that down here. No way. I mean, even up north, we used to get freaked out about the beavers when they would come and do like a tail smack on you.
Oh my God, that's dangerous up here. It scared the mess out of me. I've never had a beaver do that to me. That is scary.
Yeah,
it's scary.
Yeah, especially when you have your legs dangling in, you don't know what's coming
Yeah.
up. And then, in the summertime, you'd actually have like bluegill come up and nip at the hair on your legs.
Snakes and snapping turtles too. I'm sure I would know. I watch videos of guys doing the float tube and catch catfishing. They're catching big catfish on those.
I hated catching catfish. Like I would literally be like a little sissy, like reaching out with my grippers to like grab it to keep it away from my tube because I didn't want to take a chance of getting hit with one of the fins and popping my tube. But I actually had about a 7-pounder actually put a hole in my tube just from its top dorsal fin on a largemouth one day. Just throwing it across the top because those had little a little mesh net across your lap that had a little measuring tape on it. But
I was looking into doing something like that here with the rivers that are here, doing some float tubing like that, because I think that would be awesome smallmouth fishing in some of the rivers here.
We used to do that there in Ohio too with a couple of small creeks as well, and especially in the summertime when it's 80, 90 degrees, and it's like jumping in a spring here. The water's still in the 70s in the creeks, and it's a nice refreshing thing. And so then got down to Florida and got my Outback because I just always wanted to stay hands free, and using the pedal drives seemed to make the most sense. And being close to the water, I think that's the most fun of being in the kayak is you are right there. Now dealing with the gators and
beaver to gator.
Yes, you are real close, because I actually had it at Headwaters. I had one come out of the water and try to bite the front of my kayak a couple years back.
and what's kept you in the kayak then after that happened?
Well, that was the thing too. When I first moved down here, every time I saw a gator, I thought it was like Jaws. They were just following me around.
Yeah.
They were all going to come and get me. But I mean, what's kept me in the kayak is convenience. A lot of it too. I've got an 18-foot center console I could take out and fish, here in my Claremont chain across the street from my house. But the kayak's easier, and it's just all my stuff's in it. Yeah. It's just comfortable.
It's comfortable. Yeah. And you've been fishing out the Hobie Outback since I've known you. It's been a while. Are you planning on staying in the kayak? You got any plans to get a different one, or?
I'd probably kick myself in the butt for not picking up the PA-12 that Jeff got from you and going that route, just more for the width than anything else. But that kayak you have is pretty narrow, right? You're limited on space. It's really good from a maneuverability standpoint, but we go out in the ocean. My wife and we go out to Shell Key. I've got a passport for her, so like in the ocean, the Outback is phenomenal.
Yeah.
But we get any wind or waves in that Outback when we're fishing, on the big lakes. Yeah, it's a tough way to fish. So I'm usually going to go hide. Huh?
You gonna stay in it?
That's what I said. I'm going to wait and see if I find a deal on a PA. I think that'll be my next step eventually.
So you're going to stay with the Hobie?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm bougie like that.
Okay. Well, I know there's quite a few people selling, if you're going the used route, with the Hobie PA-12. So I'm sure when you want to get in the market, I'm sure there'll be the right one that pops up for you. So.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Well, Evan, appreciate that. I was thinking about it. I was like, you know what? I think it'd be a good question to ask. So I appreciate you playing along and answering it. And we're very grateful to have you. You've been fantastic to fish alongside. I know we spent a lot of time out on Tenoroc in the early days fishing and getting to hang out and whatnot. So, super grateful for your friendship. I know you and Evan are fairly close too. And that could have been another reason why, the family that's created in the kayak, or just bass fishing community in general is well above anything that I've ever been a part of. Right. So super grateful for that.
Well, here's one other story for you. So I found the club when you guys fished the Tenor or the Claremont chain. I think that would have been in like 22 or 23. Yeah. So I live across the street from Lake Minnehaha. There's a little park here. And I ran into a guy that was loading up his PA when I came home from work one day, and I went down to talk to him, and he's like, yeah, there's this kayak fishing tournament group.
Yep.
Here's go find him on Facebook. And I'm like, okay.
Yep.
Go look into it. And I'm like, it's Claremont chain. I should be able to fish here. I fish here all the time.
Yeah.
First time out, 4 fish.
Hey, the Claremont chain's rough, but it's a I love that. I love the chain of lakes there. It's a unique, different type of fishing than anywhere else as well, which is really good. Much darker water.
Yeah.
It's like coffee out there. So, but no, man, Evan, I appreciate you. Congratulations on a phenomenal season so far. I'm excited to kind of see how these last 2 events play out, and then the break that we have leading into our September championship. If the momentum can continue, I think that along, and correct me if I'm wrong, that break between the final event and our championship could have an impact as well, right, on championship and people fishing, right? So we've never done it this way before, where our championship is going to start the season, the next season. So we're excited about that and kind of seeing what that has for the club. So, good luck those next 2 events, and hopefully if you plan on fishing the team event, we got 3 events left, including the team. So good luck.
Thank you.
So you can stay on, or you're more than welcome to.
I'm going to stay on so I can make fun of Jeff.
Yep. So Jeff, again, those 2 questions, and then we'll kind of continue with our conversation.
So I think my answer is real similar to Devin's. Grew up fishing from a boat. Had different boats up in Ohio. Had a couple boats here in Florida, and even in Florida, I was a crappie guy. I was fishing the crappie tournaments, the spec tournaments down here, and never had much luck, when I would try to throw for bass. And so COVID came, and I decided, what the heck, I was doing a lot of hunting at the time up on Rough Island, on the Kissimmee chain, and you're allowed to hunt hog there year round. So I went out and I got a Perception Outlaw, something that was kind of big that I could throw a hog in if I killed it, and went out and kind of started hunting the river there through Rough Island, and then that kind of turned into bass fishing. I think what you're not supposed to do, went from an outlaw to a Van Hunks to a Feel Free to I've had Hobies now, I've had the Native. So in that span of 5 or 6 years, I've probably had about 5 or 6 different kayaks.
Are you, I didn't mean to interrupt. Are you related to Mitchell by any chance on that regard, or?
So I can't say I've been in the Native now. I think it's my 3rd or 4th season in the Native. So the Native is the one that I've kept and kind of maintained. I started catching good fish, and that was really the reason why I stayed in the kayak, because prior to that, I want to say the biggest bass I probably had was maybe 3 pounds. And like I said, I didn't throw for bass very frequently. And so definitely got into the kayak thing and definitely caught the bug. And then from there started catching, 5, 6s. I want to say, I know it was in KBF one year, I ended up catching I think it was a 25 3/4, and it got highlighted, Chad highlighted it across kind of the club. And that was it. I think from that point, I was like, yeah, I will be fishing from a kayak until I can't fish from a kayak anymore. Yeah. Because that was the start. That was my first fish over 10. And then from there, I've had a bunch, knock on wood, over 10. Last year's top 26, I had a bunch of them. And there is nothing better than getting a big bite. And, kind of like Evan was talking about during the tournament, every fish that you think could be a 10, it's still like catching a 10 for the first time. Yeah, get excited, hoot and hollering. Like I said, that alone, fishing for me is about stress relief and pulling a big fish into a kayak and having it pull you around the lake a little bit, going for a sleigh ride. There is nothing else like it. And so for me, that's it. I mean, it's a high that you can't really get on a boat. Yeah.
No, and that's the same for a lot. I think a lot of people have that. It's much different, right? You're more connected with the environment, and you have to put in a lot more work, right? You got to use your brain. You got to be smart on where you fish and how you fish it, and breaking down the water. So no, that's awesome. And we're glad too, right? I mean, it's growing a lot actually, but before when we first started, it wasn't as big, right? But now we got the FKBT, we got the Bass Nation folks, right, and what they're doing with the North and South Division, right? So in Florida, I don't think we have a what do they call it? We have enough opportunities out there to keep people, engaged from the competitive standpoint too, with a lot of the national trails coming down to Florida once a year. So, it gives us a great opportunity to showcase ourselves on a national level, if that's what you so desire to do so. Right. And from the competitive side, but also, we're in like mega land every day. Any body of water that you go on, you have an opportunity to catch a 9, 8, 9, 10 plus pounder. Oh, I don't know about California. Those guys over there have been catching giants, like 10, 13, 14 pounders pretty consistently.
They're all Florida string though.
Yeah, Damien I don't know. Damien has been crushing them out there.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I'm jealous about that. I wish I'd have a chance to go out there and fish some of those lakes, but Florida has them. It's just how the bodies of water are being managed are questionable. And a lot of the fish that we've been seeing outside of some of these managed areas, the fish are looking rough, right? Which is concerning from my standpoint. And hopefully, Florida is able to do something about it to be able to kind of correct that path to where, you have the elites and all these big tours that are coming down here and they're struggling to catch fish limits, right? So I've been watching a lot of YouTube, because that's really gone up in the past year. And a lot of these pro anglers that are coming out here, they're like, man, Florida is not living up to its hype anymore. Like Kissimmee, Okeechobee, all those lakes are the pressure that they're seeing on. And that's why Jeff, he helped create the county challenges, right? And that's us trying to create tournaments and go to areas with untapped tournament, like untapped potential, essentially, because they're not, those challenges, they're not being hit as hard with those bass boats. So we were excited about that this year. We love seeing it turn out. Like Tenoroc is one of those areas, but also too, we got one more of the South County Challenge. So I'm curious to see how that unfolds. So.
Oh yeah, and to your point, one of the things that I found interesting, right? It was interesting to me that Harris didn't fish well this year when they were here.
Yeah.
And I've been saying, so this year was the 8th year that they've done the Hour of Power on the Harris chain. And so so they do that right during spawn, and you can basically, sight fish on beds, and people are pulling them off beds, taking them to Hickory Point, and then letting them go at Hickory Point and not bringing them back.
Yeah.
And I think, the fact that that's the 8th year, and then this year was a huge drop off, I think that impacted Harris big time, and I think they need to change that. And the way that, it's not just the pressure, but it's the pressure at what time of year.
Yeah.
And when you're putting pressure on lakes like that during the spawn, you can only do that for so many years before that actually impacts the fishery. And I think that's what they're starting to see, is that they've impacted the fishery.
Yeah, and I think that goes for a lot of the team series too. Those fish get beat up 365 days out of the year.
Yeah, and when you pull them off of beds and they can't get back to that bed gets ruined. Yeah. And people are pulling 10-pound fish off those beds. That's the DNA string that you want to survive.
Yeah,
and you're making it hard.
Yeah, and I do want to go back, because you mentioned the top 26, right? Last year it was the top 25. This year, I do want to throw out there where the current standings are, if you're okay with that, with the current top 26 standings. And right now we have first place, Daryl Harrelson, who won the top 25 last year. He's sitting at 505 3/4, with his biggest fish being a 22.5. Right now, he has his top, hold on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 fish are over 20 inches already. So
good for him.
Yeah, he's sitting there, but we have Dwayne Dwyer is sitting in second with 495 1/4. Albert Poor's in third with 475 inches. Sherman in fourth with 411, and then Sean Spears in fifth with 406.5. Mitchell is in sixth. And then we have you, Jeff. You are in the top 10 at number 9 with 307.5 inches. So for those of you that don't know about that event and what it is, it's a year-long tournament that we do where it's your top 26 fish. Winner got a pretty cool trophy last year thanks to a sponsor for that one, Jeff. He sponsored that one, so thank you for that. And then we're going to do something like that again next year. On top of this, something that's different is we're actually going to be paying out the top 10%. So right now we're sitting at 16 anglers. So Daryl Harrelson will get the first place as of right now. We'll get paid out, and then we'll do a big bass payout as well for that event. So get signed up for that. It's not too late. It's year long when you're out, and it's nationwide, right? So if you're pre-fishing for a Bass Nation event in the North or South region, if you're anywhere in the continental United States, that is a public body of water and can be accessed by a public boat ramp, it's eligible water. If you're fishing the Bassmaster Kayak Series, wherever you're at, you can submit bass, smallmouth, largemouth, spotted bass to that leaderboard and have a chance at winning some money.
It's not too late. I know June is typically my best month for big fish, which is surprising with spawn. But I want to say last year in June, I put up, I think it was like 10 or 12 fish that were bigger than 22 just in the month of June. So I know people are probably thinking, oh, well, it's almost April, so it's probably too late. It's definitely not too late. Harrelson last year, I don't even think Harrelson really posted fish until May. Yeah. And then all of a sudden he had 560 inches.
Yeah. So it's definitely not too late. Get signed up for that. You can search it on TourneyX by just going to the search bar, typing in FKBT, and at the bottom, it's going to be under the nationwide tab, and it'll say Florida Kayak Bass Trail Top 26 Challenge. You can go there if you have questions on how to get registered or where to. You can reach out to myself or Todd or Jeff, and we could definitely point you in the right direction there. But that's a year-long tournament we got going on. Jeff, we're going to kind of transition now from Tenoroc and that event over into kind of the rest of the season, what that's going to look like. You're more than welcome to stay on since you're here, but also too, you're part of the top. So you're definitely more than welcome to. So big ticket items we want to talk about before we move on, before we end this next, give me about 10 minutes and then we'll be done, if that. So big ticket item to take away. Our next event is going to be on Headwaters in Stick Marsh. I believe that's going to be, let me look at the schedule. It is, let me bring it up. We have it right here. So Headwaters Stick Marsh is going to be on April 11th. Registration is open, so you guys can go to Florida Kayak Bass Trail on our TourneyX website, and you guys can definitely get signed up. I have a QR code that's right above here in the top right-hand corner. If you want to, you can scan that QR code, and it'll take you right to the link on TourneyX. Registration will close on April 10th at midnight, and our captain's meeting for that event is going to be on April 9th. At 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you don't want to miss that. It's going to be a phenomenal event. Big fish are being caught. It's a great fishery. So definitely don't want to miss that one. Get signed up. Second, after that, our final event of the regular season is going to be the South County Challenge. And that is going to be on, I believe, May 9th. So May 9th is going to be our final regular season event. And then we are going to be doing our team challenge, which is your final for anglers who are in the club that might not have qualified or whatever outside the qualification for the championship. The team challenge, the winning team, if they're outside of that cutoff for the AOI, if they win it, is an auto qualifier into the championship. For those of you that have won an event this year, you are automatically qualified for the championship as long as you meet the minimum requirement, which is 3 events. So for those of you that have fished those 3 events and have won an event, you are automatically qualified to fish this year's championship as well. Still sign up for the team challenge. It's really fun. It's a really good event. And it's a way that we kind of raise some money for the championship as well. So more to come on that as we get closer to the end of the season. Also, I want to throw up here Angler of the Year. As of right now, Blake Abbey is sitting in first place with 602.25 points. We got Jeff Gallagher here as well, who's on the stream with us with 567. Jason Leach, last year's Angler of the Year champion, at 543. Evan Fercaso at 537 and a quarter. We got Thomas Woodring, who was our inaugural Angler of the Year for the club at 492 and 3/4. Chris Mitchell, another reigning AOI champion at 428 and a half. Daryl Harrelson, the Hammer at 397 and a half. Richard Bruce at 397 and a quarter. Granger Hieronymus at 387, and then Hunter Taylor at 379 and a half. So phenomenal top 10 there. It's still definitely, there's still room in the season to catch Blake. It's not over with, so definitely continue to go out there and do your best. If you find yourself not in the top 10, you're still fighting to qualify. In top 5 there is going to get something unique at the championship. So not going to say what that is, but you'll definitely going to get your recognition that you deserve there as well. So congratulations to all you guys that are in the top 10. Keep working hard on that. Another item I do want to talk about, just kind of covering the basis, is sportsmanship. That's something that I think needs to be addressed. So for everyone that's watching, I know we only got 3 or 4 of you online right now that are watching this live. We'll address it again and talk a little bit more about it at our captain's meeting on the 9th of April, where we can kind of capture a larger audience. But just something to remember is we are a grassroots club, and we're built and we're founded on the friendships that we make here within this very small community that we have. So please just remember, when you're out on the water pre-fishing, you're just out on the water with groups of friends that fish the club with us. You're at the award ceremony, just in general, right? Just be good, kind human beings. If you have an issue with somebody, approach it in a professional manner. You guys are representing the club and the name and what it's associated with, right? So just be decent human beings. Remember sportsmanship on and off the water with your fellow anglers, and we'll be good, right? That's the main thing that we want to preach here, is just be good, decent human beings. And if you have an issue with someone, bring it to my attention, and we'll try to mediate it as best as possible. But yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about it moving forward. And just know that the club, where we stand from a director standpoint, and me is running the club, I have a zero tolerance policy that's been in effect for any sort of physical, verbal violence of any nature, right? So that goes threatening other anglers, that goes provoking other anglers, or that might even be cyberbullying. If you're posting about another person on the internet that's inappropriate or unprofessional, right? Just know that we as a club have zero tolerance for it. We want to make sure that we are portraying the sport of kayak bass fishing in a positive light. So just know that, and the repercussions to that is very simple, right? You're not going to be a part of the club, right? We'll give you a warning, and we'll say we might disqualify you or make it to where you can't fish the next event. But if it happens again, we're just going to politely ask you to go be a part of another club, and that's all it is to it. My name, Todd's name, and this club's name is not going to be associated with any sort of negative light in that manner. So that's all I kind of want to share on that. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns about it, you guys have my information. You can text me, call me, shoot me an email, and I'll be happy to assist in any way. On another note, also some good news is I'll be moving further south. Coming June, I will be moving down to Biloxi, Mississippi. So I'll be close. Hopefully I'll be able to make a few more of the events moving into the championship and into next year. So super excited about that opportunity. And very grateful that I'm able to move, that I'm going to be moving back down to Biloxi, Mississippi. So I shared the news with Todd, Jeff, and the guys already. And I wanted to share that with you guys. So you'll probably be seeing me around the events a lot more on a regular basis now, which I'm super happy for. So I'll also mention that at the awards, or at the captain's meeting for the Headwater Stick Marsh event too. But just wanted to share that with you guys, and super happy for it. So, but yeah, that's kind of all where I wanted to get to for tonight. Again, more to come for the Headwater Stick Marsh Captains meeting. Hopefully get you guys to have the opportunity to get out there and do some pre-fishing. And super excited about that. But Todd, I want to turn it over to you if you have anything you'd like to add.
Getting unmuted here. I guess, I don't know, I may have some background noise
You're
and stuff
good.
going on, so sorry about that.
You're
But
good.
no, man, we're pumped that you're going to be back down here close to us, you know, for sure. And, you know, looking forward, hopefully I'll be able to get out there on Stick Marsh here in, I guess, what is it, 3 weeks?
Yep.
So that's what I'm looking forward to. So congratulations to the guys tonight. You guys did a great job. I wish I could have been out there with y'all fishing, but anyway.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, we're grateful that you're here with us, Todd, and you're going to be out there fishing Headwaters and Stick Marsh. I know you were upset about not being able to fish the last event, but you know, fingers crossed you can get out there and compete and get back out on the water there on April 11th. But super excited. Make sure that you guys are staying safe out there. I know the afternoon thunderstorms are rolling in, so just make sure you guys keep your head on a swivel with the weather. For those of you that are out there that are watching this, that are competing either in Bass or in the Kayak Adventure Series or somewhere, you know, across the U.S., good luck this weekend. Be safe. Always wear your life jacket. And yeah, tight lines. We'll see you guys on April 9th at 7 p.m. for the Headwater Stick Marsh Captains meeting. But thanks for joining us tonight, and we'll see you then.